Galatians 2, verse 20. I have been crucified with Christ, and I no longer live, but Christ lives in me. The life I now live in the body, I live by faith in the Son of God. I keep coming back to this verse in my life. Every time I read it, I think about how things are going in my life, in my heart, in my relationship with God. The relationships I have with people, how each of these are going, whether I am getting better as a person or not, what ways I have gotten worse. It sounds so total, so sweeping, so majestically all-encompassing. I have been crucified with Christ, and I no longer live. I think about Paul the Apostle, who penned these words, how his life was dramatically changed, how he went from religious intolerant and persecutor in order to protect the establishment to social change agent and advocate for freedom, equality, and unity in the church. How he went from calling Jesus a fantastical lie to knowing him so fully and intimately. I lived one way, and then Jesus happened to me, and now I live this way. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Before and after. That's what this verse often speaks out to. But my life, it doesn't seem to have such a dramatic before and after contrast to it. Well, there was definitely a time I did not know Christ. I certainly did live selfishly and destructively, a real bleepity bleep to people when I didn't get my way. Yet I didn't undergo such a radical change when I became a Christian. There were dramatic things that happened, and God was for sure getting into my heart, but I still had big time bleepity bleep behavior and capacity. I was a young man, single, underperforming, privileged, and white. None of that really changed once I gave my heart to Jesus and joined the church. It had been a long road of learning, developing, falling, justifying, fighting, apologizing, acknowledging, shaming, and being shamed, learning not to shame, freeing from shame, and being freed from shame. It's been a long road of loving and being loved, of not loving, and expecting too much from people who couldn't give what I demanded, thought that I needed, of maturing and discovering how immature I was still, of ghosting people, avoiding conflict, and racking up amends to make when I get courageous enough to do it. All in all, it's been a mess, and no big bestseller, not overly dramatic, not enough of a clear-cut contrast of before and after. And yet, it has all been very real to me. And it continues to be real. I think there is a difference since Jesus started messing with me. There have been plenty of pounding on the ceiling of the car moments of anguish. And there have been a good share of life twists and gut-wrenchers to write home about. And Jesus has been there for all of it, inside my heart, juxtaposing his love and light with my poop emoji collection. I no longer live, but Christ lives in me. I can say yes, for sure. My God, how can it be yes to Christ living in me? But I often still feel very much alive, struggling and fighting with this God that gave his all to us, fighting with Jesus crucified. Yes, I have given in to God and given up to him enough to say that there is a before-ish and after-ish to who I am. What I know, though, is that it's not over yet. I can't hit print on my story. There's still some more giving in and giving up to do. And he is there, in my heart, in my life, present and living. He hasn't waited. So I think the truth that I've learned from this verse is this: I couldn't be crucified with Christ if he wasn't alive today in my life. Paul gave himself to the living Christ, not the dead Jesus. Paul met the living Christ, not the buried Christ. He could have his before and after story because Jesus came to Paul first, before Paul could ever have gone to the cross where Jesus died. That's God's grace. It always works this way. He died so we can live. He lives so we can die. Over and over again if we have to, because he continues to live. Live in me, in you, and in every death we find life again. Life with him and his life in us.